responsibility isn't a decision you make. It's a condition that settles into the body and does not leave.
Wow.
Okay, that is, that's haunting. It sounds almost like a tagline for a horror movie.
It really does. But it's about parenting.
And honestly, it might be the most, I don't know, the most accurate description of the job I've ever heard.
It hits you right in the gut, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It's so visceral. We are looking at an essay today called Simply Responsibility by the writer and philosopher Pedro Malha.
Right.
And I should say, if you're listening to this hoping for, a top 10 tips to manage parental stress list,
Yeah, this is not that.
you are definitely in the wrong place.
Please turn back now. We're not doing hacks today. We're doing existential dread. But maybe the validating kind?
I think so.
What drew me to this is how Malha just completely dismantles the way we usually talk about being a parent. It's always a job description, you know?
A checklist.
It's a checklist. You feed them, clothe them, drive them to soccer, make sure they don't stick forks in sockets.
But Malha says that checklist is almost a distraction. The doing part, the feeding, the driving, that's just logistics.
Okay.
The actual weight of it, the thing that wakes you up at 3 in the morning, isn't the tasks. It's a fundamental shift in how you perceive reality. He calls it a field you enter.
Let's pause on that. A field you enter. That sounds a little esoteric. Is he talking about a force field? Or is this just a fancy way of saying lifestyle change?
No, I think he's being quite literal about the physics of it. Think about gravity. You don't do gravity.
Right.
You exist in it. It pushes on you constantly, whether you're walking or sleeping. Mahler's arguing that once you're responsible for another life, the atmosphere around you actually changes density.
So it's not that I'm just busy. It's that my biology has tuned into a completely new frequency.
Yes, that's a perfect way to put it.
It's like an operating system patch. Before kids, my OS was running Me 1.0, and now it's running Vigilance 2.0, and I can't uninstall it. You can't. And Malha notes that this field, it holds time differently. It's there before you even have language for it, before you have any confidence in what you're doing.
Oh, that sound of the room. I know this. Even when my kids are away, staying with grandparents, I still sleep with that weird half-cocked ear.
Yeah.
I'm listening for a cry that isn't coming.
Is Malha saying that's not just anxiety, that's just the new setting?
That's the new setting. He insists we misunderstand responsibility as this thing added on top of our lives. You have your career, your friends, and then you stack parenting on top.
Like a very heavy, occasionally screaming backpack.
Exactly. But Malha says it's not a backpack. It becomes part of you. It fundamentally alters how you perceive risk. He says the future is no longer imagined as possibility, but as exposure.
Exposure. God, that is such a dark shift. Because before kids, I'd look at the future and think, what cool things could happen?
Potential.
Now I look at the future and think, what are all the jagged edges that could hurt this person? It's like I've become a risk assessment algorithm.
And it's automatic. That's the key. Not a conscious choice. Something precious is moving through time outside your control.
Yeah.
And responsibility is just the constant awareness of that.
Okay, that's heavy.
And here's the kicker. This is the part of the essay that I think explains why so many parents feel burnt out, even when they aren't physically doing anything. Malha says this field is unfinishable.
Wait, unfinishable. You're saying there is literally no finish line. That feels incredibly bleak.
It's stark, but it's real. Think about a work project. You finish the slides, you hit send, it's done.
Right, the brain gets to release the tension.
Exactly. You can finish laundry,
Yeah.
You can finish dinner, you cannot finish responsibility.
Yeah.
Malha writes that even when nothing is required of you, the responsibility remains. It waits. It tracks.
It's that open browser tab theory. You know when you have 50 tabs open and your computer fan just starts whirring even though you aren't clicking on anything?
Yes, it just eats up your RAM. He gives these examples that are so specific. They heard a news story about a tragedy, a delayed reply to a text.
Oh, the delayed reply.
Or just a sudden, unexpected quiet in the house. Any of those can bring the full weight of it rushing forward instantly.
It's the delayed text for me. You send, you get there okay. And if it takes 5 minutes too long, your brain goes from 0 to they're in a ditch.
Yeah.
And you're telling me this isn't just me being neurotic?
It's not neurosis. He says it's the condition. The core knowledge that anchors this whole field is the untransferable fact that another life depends on your steadiness.
Well, that is terrifyingly validating. But let's talk about the visibility of this. Because if I'm sitting on the couch, staring at my phone, waiting for that text, to anyone else, I just look like I'm...
Scrolling Instagram.
Exactly. I look lazy.
And this is a huge source of friction in partnerships. Malha really emphasizes the invisibility of this labor. We judge parenting by what we see: school runs, packed lunches.
Action items.
Right. But the vast majority of responsibility is just vigilance. It's holding all the possibilities in your mind.
It's the mental chess game.
It is. It's the calculation you do before you speak, the pause before you decide. It's the silent weighing of consequences that may never even happen. To an outsider, you're just standing there drinking coffee.
But inside, you're averting 3 different timelines of disaster. I feel like I need a t-shirt that says, I'm not zoning out, I'm running simulations.
You should get one. And this ties directly into how he talks about love and responsibility. We tend to mush them together.
I worry because I love them.
Exactly. But Maltha says they're not the same, though they are completely tangled. He argues that responsibility sharpens love by exposing what could be lost.
And then the love intensifies the responsibility.
By making indifference impossible.
Making indifference impossible. That's it, isn't it? You literally cannot not care. You're held hostage by your own affection.
And the result isn't some poetic Hallmark movie feeling. He calls it a sustained attentiveness that does not switch off. He's very clear. This is not romantic. It's practical, it's tiring, and it's deeply human.
I really appreciate that he calls it tiring. Because sometimes you feel guilty for being tired of loving someone so much.
But it's not the love that's tiring. It's the mechanics of the attention.
Okay, so let's talk about how this evolves. Because you always hear that cliche. Little kids, little problems, big kids, big problems.
Right. But Mala frames it as a fundamental shift in the type of labor. And this is where parents of teenagers or young adults often feel completely unseen.
Or for sure, because people think, oh, they can drive now, they can make their own sandwich, you're done.
You're so not done. In the early years, the work is urgent and physical. It's about keeping a small body safe, fed, away from stairs. It's exhausting, but it's actionable.
You have control. You can physically pick them up.
You have control, but later, it shifts from hands to mind. It moves into these abstract realms of influence, values, long-range consequences, and the mental load just skyrockets.
But it's invisible.
Totally invisible.
Yeah.
He uses this phrase that it gave me chills. Holding concern without control.
That sounds like actual torture.
It's the hardest form of responsibility. Standing beside a life that is making its own choices. When they're 3, you can move them away from the edge of the pool.
Yeah.
When they're 23, you have to watch them walk near the edge, maybe even stumble. And just hold the concern. You have to be the safety net, not the fence.
That requires so much more restraint. It's infinitely harder on the nervous system than grabbing a toddler. You just have to sit on your hands and hope.
And that sitting on your hands creates its own specific weight, which leads into the darker side of this fueled fear and asymmetry.
Okay, the fear. Because again, all the modern advice is don't project your fear onto your kids. If you're afraid, you're doing it wrong.
Mullen really pushes back on that. He says fear isn't panic. It's the logical companion of care.
The logical companion. I like that.
If you care about something fragile in a chaotic world, you know harm is possible. Denying that isn't being chill, it's being delusional.
So the goal isn't to get rid of the fear?
No. The goal is to relate to it differently. If you suppress it, he says it hardens into tension. That's when you become the snappy, controlling parent.
And if you recognize it?
It softens into watchfulness. It's a subtle difference, but it's everything.
Okay. Now, asymmetry. This is the one I want to dig into because I feel like this is the source of 90% of arguments between partners.
The why aren't you as worried as I am? Fight.
That's the one.
This is such a profound insight in the essay. He says responsibility is rarely shared evenly in experience, even if it's shared in intention.
Meaning you can both agree to do 50-50, but it won't feel like 50-50.
Never. Because 2 different nervous systems will carry the weight differently.
This is the 9 p.m. kitchen argument. One parent says, I did the dishes, I did the pickup, I signed the form, and the other's like, but did you notice he looked sad about the math test?
And they're both right. And that's the tragedy Mala points out. It's not that one parent cares less. It's that their nervous systems are tuned to different frequencies of risk.
So one is tuned to physical safety. Are the doors locked?
And the other might be tuned to social rejection. Is he making friends? And instead of validating that, we punish each other for it. The physical parent thinks the social parent is hysterical.
And the social parent thinks the physical parent is cold and checked out.
When really it's not a failure of partnership, it's just biology.
That actually makes me feel so much better. It's not that my partner doesn't care. His radar is just scanning a different sector of the sky.
Exactly. And why is his radar scanning that sector? That brings us to what Mala calls the echo.
The ghosts in the nursery.
Yes. Responsibility awakens memories of how care was given to you or withheld from you in your own childhood. The past appears not as an instruction manual, but as an echo.
So when I overreact to my kid dropping a glass, I'm not really reacting to the glass. I'm reacting to, I don't know, 1994.
You're hearing the echo and carrying all of this, the fear, the asymmetry, the vigilance, the echoes. It leads to a very specific kind of exhaustion. He calls it the tiredness of sustained importance.
The tiredness of sustained importance. Wow, that is it. It's not that I need a nap. It's that I have been mattering intensely to someone else for too long without a break.
It asks for steadiness when steadiness is scarce.
I just want to stop mattering for like an hour.
And Mala insists, this exhaustion does not mean you are mishandling responsibility. It means you are holding it.
Okay, but, and here's my question. Is it all just burden? This whole thing makes parenting sound like a grim life sentence. There has to be some upside, right?
He does get there, and it's a crucial pivot. He argues that responsibility isn't just a crushing weight, it has an intelligence.
An intelligence, like a superpower.
Kind of. Think about that gut feeling. When you walk into a room and you just know something is off with your kid, even before they say a word.
Or you wake up right before they get sick.
Yes, that isn't magic. That is the intelligence of responsibility. It guides your attention. It prioritizes without instruction. Malha says over time it develops a quiet wisdom.
So it's not just anxiety, it's data.
It's high-speed data. But that data comes at a cost to the self. He talks about how it layers your identity. It doesn't replace who you were, it adds an additional axis of concern.
Which feels really crowded.
Exceptionally crowded. Especially in a culture that values independence so much. Suddenly you're not just you. You're you plus the safety of this other being. And it demands integration, not separation.
Okay, so we have this heavy field, this exhaustion, this high-speed data system running in the background. My instinct, and I think every parent's instinct is, how do I fix it? How do I optimize this so it hurts less?
And that, he says, is the trap of optimization. We live in a world that tells us we can hack anything: sleep, diet, productivity.
So we try to manage responsibility like it's a supply chain problem.
Exactly. And it just increases the strain and the self-criticism.
But I want to fix it. If I can't optimize it and I can't solve the exhaustion, am I just supposed to suffer? That sounds like defeat.
I think he would say it's about surrender, not giving up. There's a huge difference. If you're swimming in the ocean, you don't try to fix the waves.
You learn to bob.
You learn to bob. Trying to fix responsibility to get to a place where you never worry is fighting the ocean. You'll just drown. The alternative to a solution is recognition.
Just recognizing you're in the water. But how does that actually help? Knowing I'm drowning doesn't make me not drown.
It stops the secondary suffering. It stops the self-judgment. You stop thinking, I feel heavy because I'm bad at this.
And you start thinking,
I feel heavy because this is heavy.
That reframing is actually, it's huge. It takes all the shame out of the exhaustion.
It does. And over time, Malha says, the nervous system adapts. It learns to carry importance without constant alarm. It becomes a steady presence, not a frantic one.
So you get your sea legs, the ocean is still moving, the risk is still there, but you stop falling over every time a wave hits.
That is a perfect metaphor. And this isn't achieved by trying harder or buying a better planner. It just arrives through time and repeated recognition.
So the answer is,
Yes.
Just keep going.
Pretty much. He concludes that responsibility is not an obstacle to be overcome on the way to parenting.
It is the terrain itself.
The mountain is the parenting. And he finishes with this beautiful idea that parents become temporal. We live with time extended in both directions, holding the memory of our past and the possibility of our children's future, all meeting in these ordinary, exhausting days.
I feel like I've just been through therapy and a physics lecture, but it's a good kind of heavy. It's the difference between carrying a backpack of rocks you can't put down.
And what?
And just acknowledging gravity. Gravity is heavy, but it also keeps you grounded.
And you don't have to fight gravity. You just have to learn to walk within it.
Exactly. So for you listening right now, if you're feeling that bone-deep exhaustion, that constant background hum of vigilance, Mala's message is pretty clear.
Yeah.
You aren't broken. You haven't failed.
You have simply entered the field. You are holding steadiness in a world that offers very little of it.
I want to leave you with a thought to mull over. We spend so much energy trying to make the feeling of responsibility go away, to relax, to escape, to fix our anxiety. But what if that exhaustion you feel isn't a symptom of something going wrong? What if it's simply Evidence of care extended faithfully across time.
If you stopped trying to solve the feeling of responsibility and just acknowledged it as the terrain you live on, how might the weight shift?
Something to think about next time you're awake at 2 a.m. Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.